Hey everybody, it's me, Double. Thanks for tuning back into the channel. iSet has been just awesome about sending stuff over. I'll put their playlist up top here. We've looked at CubeBaby style things before, but this is the iSet version of it. It's going to be loaded up with a couple of different things than what I've seen before. The back of the box kind of gives you the layout of what you get. You got a tuner module, an amplifier module, which is going to be whether you're clean, kind of driven, or maybe heavy. What I also remember from some of these units is that the clean sounds maybe are outshined a little bit by the overdrive sounds set cleaner. We'll take a look and see what we think exactly. There's a modulation which gives you either chorus or phaser or nothing, delay, reverb, and then a cabinet section. And that's the back of the box, and you can see here on this side it's going to kind of give you an idea of your outputs and your inputs. You have a Bluetooth input, so you can stream audio from your phone over to this and kind of just be a one-man band if you have jam tracks or something and go right to your house PA. It looks like a USB input as well, and then it's going to have your headphone out, and then it has a USB output, and then your standard 1/4 inch output. So, and then of course it has your 1/4 inch input. So there's your in, there's your out, there's all the stuff you get between. And these kind of things are really fun, mainly because you can actually dial in some pretty varied sounds. The iSet CubeBaby will have 9 spots for distortions and then 9 spots for cabinets. And the cabinet one over here, you'll notice that in the IR section, slot number 1 is empty. If you want to use it straight into your rig and you don't want any kind of IR modeling, you're going to want to save your presets there as slot number 1, which is going to be empty. And then after that, once you turn it and you start choosing your options, that light will be lit up. But over here in the overdrive section, all of these have a tonal personality. So depending on what kind of setup you're going to be running into, you'll find a lot of variance going into different preamps with all these different overdrives. You know, you'll have mild overdrives or cleanish sounds that you can stack kind of together into your already existing preamp. So that's one way to use it. 9 times 9, 81. Yes, 81. That's it. So you have 81 different combinations between the amplifier preamp section and the cabinet section. So that's a lot of options. And then of course you can save it with your tonal variation and your gain variation too. So a lot more than just 81 options to pick from, and then save your favorite 3 combinations to the pedal. The goal with something like this is if you can use it at home and then take it to a gig or take it to a recording session and get the same kind of sounds, know that what you've dialed in is going to translate over to your recording or to your audience and to the crowd. So within the package here, we get a couple of different things. It looks like, of course, you get the iSet CubeBaby itself, and it's going to have your 3 buttons. You hold these 2 down to turn Bluetooth on or off, like that. And then if you hold these 2 down for an extended time, you'll get a tuner. And if you tap these 2 down quickly, you will go back and forth between the 3 presets, or what they call a live mode, where you actually have control of these and can then store whatever program you want into one of those 3 presets. When you're in preset mode, you can't really tweak these knobs. You have to kind of come up with the sounds you like and then save them into the 3 positions. And that's the most efficient way to use this. Or you just kind of turn it on and go with what they have. You get your USB to TRRS cable, and then you also get a USB-A to micro USB. So this one's micro USB to TRRS. And then you get a manual, owner's manual. One thing I remember about this guy was that there were a couple of combinations that they had decided on using in this that really sounded good in their system with what they had. They actually had a good couple. Oh, there it is, the shit cow. Here's my favorite thing already about this one compared to some of the other ones. The détentes on the type knobs for your IR cab and for your distortion, they click in real well. Like I can really tell. They don't click necessarily, but the détente is really solid and firm. Like I can tell that I've moved on to another one, as opposed to a couple of the squishier ones that I've seen. Yeah, and the modulation has a nice middle detente as well. So if you hold these two buttons for 2 seconds, now we're in tuner mode, and then you can just tap anything come out of it. If you hit these just real quick, now we're in preset mode, and you see these lights are blinking to show you whether or not a section is on or off. And as you can see, if I hit the blue, then the entire modulation and delay section will go off. Let's say you want to patch with some delay, but you don't want modulation. You're going to want to save one of those to preset 1 and then the other to preset 2. You know, one with modulation on, one with modulation off. And that would be how you would do that. And so you can see I got a blinking Bluetooth light. If you hold these two buttons down for a couple seconds, turns that Bluetooth light off. By default, it will be on every time you turn it on. I've got 3 different presets stored that iSet supplied you with, and we'll run through those just real quick, and then we'll start to kind of tweak. It is good to know that in the manual they do tell you what those presets are, because I remember kind of messing with things like this, and then once you tweak and save, you can't, all of a sudden you're like, oh man, what was that? Or as you go back through and touch the unit and you think, oh, I'll just easily get back to what that sound was by going to what the type was when I turned it on. Well, that won't always be the case, because these are going to be knobs that save options and then become unusable. So you might knock them and change the position, but the preset will not have changed. Kind of a brown sound here. A little bit of a nod to Eddie. Yeah, definitely high gain. You can hear the hiss. There's no noise gate in there, so just something to think about if you're intending on using this on a high gain, in the high gain patch. You're going to end up wanting to have something a little quieter to kick over to. So yeah, you get a decent little high gain sound. So if I hit these real quick, then I can start to run through what we have here within the different type. Of course, you can change the gain on any one of those. On each, you know, as you run through this. Of course, I'm not changing the gain on the cabinet, obviously, but you can change the gain on the preamp. Obviously, the cabinet has a lot of influence on your tone. That's nice. And then you take the modulation. If you turn it to the right, you get the little more of a phaser kind of a sound. I like that phaser, especially in that low setting. Let's see. I don't really like it as it gets quicker, and it's just then at that point it's way too quick for me. But that kind of slower thing is cool. So I'm just running running through the different IR cabs. There it is off. I like the tones that I'm getting so far, just even down to this clean. I gotta say, that phaser is a lot better than what I was expecting. And a lot of times with these guys, you get a really kind of just crazy chorus. Yeah, that real seasicky kind of chorus the farther left you go. But totally usable, and that's subtle, and then and just that first between the noon and like 10 o'clock range, depending on what you like. And then maybe let's bring in a little bit more delay. Tone, you got a little tone knob there. Day tripper model seems to be real quiet. Oh, the gain stage is kind of acting like an on-off almost there. Without much gain, it doesn't want to be clean. So that's the Vox one. Doesn't get too clean. You'd have to kind of save a boosted volume in that preset probably just to compensate. There's the shit cow. Okay, so bringing in the chorus does give a little, it makes it a little quieter. So that's the Shikau and the PV. Oh, and there's the Saldana. Those don't sound good together. But man, that combination's not bad. The Shikau and the PV. So it says WO stone, so that should be a 2 stone for number 8. Like that number 7 setup that they have. I think that PV 5150 Model 7 really sounds really good compared to all the other ones to me. It seems to work the best with all of the amps. Yeah, the modulation is not subtle. I'll say that, and I've noticed that on a lot of these. It's kind of like just if you just could bring the mix of the overall modulation down just a little bit on either the phaser, on both the phaser or the chorus, it would to me make that modulation sound just a little bit better. I will say this chorus sounds better than I was expecting, especially on the clean stuff. So that's a quick look at the iSet CubeBaby. It's easy to get around once you kind of wrap your head around some of the things you have to plan for. Like if you go into preset mode and you want to start making changes, it's best to kind of keep track of what your favorite numbers are as far as the IR types for the cabinet, and then also for the distortions, because it can get a little bit confusing. The preamp section right here and the IR cabinet, they are detanted, so it's a lot easier to count your way through them, which I will say is a nice thing. More usable sounds in this one than I've found in a couple of other things that I've messed with. Doesn't feel like that low end is overpowering. Sometimes you get these kind of guys and they're either just too bright or like just too boomy all around. I wasn't really feeling like I was dialing in boomy tones. I don't know. I'm monitoring a slightly different way than the way I'm recording, but all the levels were the same. So I'm hoping that translated well, what I was hearing in my headphones to what's being recorded. 80 some odd combinations of tones, and I just turned it off. So it's worth checking out. I think this one has a little more usability, a little more tonal flexibility in it than some of the ones that I found. And of course, you can always add the tones that you like in the IR cabinet section through Cube Suite, which is a very easy program to download and find. So give the iSet CubeBaby a check out if you haven't found one of these types of pedals yet that suits your fancy, or you've been interested in one of these kind of guys. This is a good one to start with, and throw it in your gig bag. If you have any pedal board problems, you at least know that you have some options to run through real quick and get yourself out of the jam. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you guys very much for being here, and thanks iSet for sending this along, the CubeBaby. Pretty cool. I appreciate it, you guys. Y'all take care.